Hello, welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all of the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Welcome today. Here on the channel, if you're new, you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and sometimes weaving too. Today's video is my May monthly making wrap up. I'm going to chat to you about all of the projects that I finished or started working on in May. And then at the end of the video, I've got a little bit of a life sort of chatter update. I'll be posting videos here a little bit less regularly through June, so I'm going to chat a bit about that, and also I've got the 1000 subscriber giveaway winners to draw for, so if you entered that giveaway then stick around to the end. For May, if you watched my making plans video, I decided I was going to concentrate on working with handspun only throughout the month of May, and for the most part I did stick to that. You might have watched my working with handspun video and know that my month was a little bit up and down, and it continued to be so. The last week of the month I completely lost my creative mojo. I did a teeny tiny little bit of spinning, but nothing else. I just did not want to pick up my knitting or anything, and I was chatting with some friends about it, and they suggested maybe it was because I was trying to force myself to kind of only work with handspun, but it really wasn't that, because when I hit that wall, I took a look at my whips, my row of whips behind me, and thought, okay, maybe I just needed to sort of pull back and reevaluate and work on something else. But none of my whips were calling to me either, so it was just knitting creative mojo took a wander. But I'm sure it will come back soon. So despite that blip and some of the other things that didn't go quite right throughout the month, I do have some finished objects to share with you. So I'm going to start with my one non-handspun finished object. My dear friend Caroline, who is Colourful Creativity here on YouTube, she released a lovely sock pattern in this last week. If you follow Caroline, you may already know that she is releasing a series of patterns inspired by some beautiful cable patterns knitted by her gran. And this year she released the rice pudding socks, and I think these socks have turned into even more special a design as Caroline lost her gran earlier on this year. So I volunteered to test knit these. I didn't finish my pair for the release date. I'd finished a sock, so I was able to give Caroline sort of testing feedback, but this last week I managed to finish my second sock, so I now have a finished pair of rice pudding socks. I'm not sure if these are going to look strange or not on the blockers. I don't think they do, but one of these has been blocked and one of these hasn't, because Caroline asked for an in progress photo so that she could share it on her Instagram. A couple of evenings ago I finished the second sock and I haven't yet sort of washed and blocked it. I knit mine from some opal yarn for the heels, toes and cuffs, just in a sort of deep brown, and then the main colour is a skein of Coop Knits Socks Yeah, and I can't remember the colour name offhand. I don't suppose I've got the label in the bag still. Oh yeah, I do. I was lucky. Almandine, ALMANDINE, shade number 117. So yeah, let me just take one of these off of the blockers so you can see the beautiful cable pattern down the front of the sock a little bit better. So basically I think this is the one that hasn't been blocked. It's a pair of cables either side of a beautiful lace pattern down the middle, and Caroline's got some beautiful photos of her sample pair over on her Instagram. But it's a really lovely pattern to knit. It's very addictive once you get going. It's a 4-row pattern repeat, and 2 of the rows are rest rows, so you're just knitting the knits and purling the pearls. So it's a great one to memorise, and if you're in the mood for something a little bit more interesting than a vanilla sock, but something that you can work on really without thinking about it too much, then I would highly recommend the rice pudding socks. While we are on the subject of socks, I have one more pair to share with you. These are a pair that I've knit from my handspun yarn. The fibre was originally dyed by Attic Spin Dye, and this is the Tropical Sunset colourway, and I spun this up I think last year at some point, and I ended up with a sort of sport DK weight yarn, and I thought it was high time that these got knitted up into socks. So here are my finished pair of socks. Beautiful, beautiful yellows and oranges with some purple in here too. I just love how these have knitted up. They fit really well. I followed the same sock recipe that I made for myself when I made my hand spun Cheviot socks a little while ago, and yeah, that seems to work well for this sort of DK sport weight yarn, and these make for a lovely cozy pair of socks. It's getting a little bit warm here in Wales at the moment to wear these. However, I think I may have a happy dance for you, a happy feet dance, because as these have been washed and blocked, I'm fairly sure that I recorded a little segment of me parading around in these. So if I did, and if I still have that, then I'll pop that in here. I know, I'm being a bit vague and a bit crazy. Like, of course you should remember what you've recorded and what you haven't, but there's a lot going on here at the moment, which I'll chat about at the end. So my mind is all over the place, hence why I'm recording first thing in the morning when I'm just out of the shower and before this room gets too hot. The light's not the best, but we've got lots going on here at the moment, so this is the time that I've got to try and squeeze this in. So I figure even if it's not the best episode, at least I can try and get one out before I need to probably take a bit of a recording break. So yeah, hand spun socks from merino nylon fibre, dyed by Attic Spin Dye. I've worked with Attic Spin Dye yarn and fibre quite a few times. The lovely Andy and Angela have been amazing supporters of the Yarn and Yarns channel. Andy does such great work with his dyeing, both for yarn and fibre. I can highly recommend them. I've got two more knitting finished objects to share with you. The first one you would have already seen almost completed if you watched my working with handspun video. I was making this really fun stripy hat from some handspun that's been in my stash for quite some time. I originally spun this kind of self-striping yarn from some Rolags from Siobhan's Crafts. And it's been sat in my stash for ages. I was inspired by a pattern in the Kate Davies book, Milwaukee Heeds, where she uses her 4-ply yarn to make a stripy hat from sort of random leftovers. And she paired her stripy yarn with a dark brim, and I really like the look of that. So although my handspun yarn is a double knit weight, DK weight, I ran with that idea and made this really fun hat. I haven't yet woven in the end, it's only just been blocked, but I think it's turned out really cute. My self-striping yarn is kind of micro striping and not altogether even in terms of the striping effect, but it's made for a really bright fun hat, and I really enjoy it, and I think I'll get a lot of wear out of this once the weather gets cooler again. So it's got a bit of slouch to it. Hopefully you can see that. I'm not entirely sure what you can see right now, but yeah, it fits really nicely, and I really like the contrast of the dark brim with the fun stripes. So yeah, I'm so pleased with that. It wasn't necessarily a project. It's too warm to be wearing a hat for too long up here. It wasn't necessarily a project that I was aiming to work on. I picked out a couple of things that I really wanted to work on, but neither of them worked out. So this was kind of a runner-up contender in terms of priority for me to work on with my handspun, but I'm really glad that I did get to this and have a really, what I think is a really fun hat to enjoy when the winter comes around. I didn't follow a particular pattern. I just cast on, I think 90, 100 stitches maybe, I can't remember. Did a 1x1 brim, and then just knit around until I had maybe something like 8 inches of hat from brim to the top, and then I just did a sort of regular decrease pattern to create quite a flat sort of top to the hat. as I was aiming for that sort of slouchy effect, I quite like a flat top for that, rather than that sort of beanie style. So yeah, that's quite a fun little detail on the top there, where the decreases are sort of swirling round. So yeah, that's it for my self-striping hat. And final knitted object, and this is a big one, I finished my hand-spun Weekender sweater. So Weekender is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I was very kindly gifted this pattern by my dear friend Jeanette. Hi Jeanette, if you're watching. And I cast this on back at the beginning of 2020. I spun all of the yarn in 2019, cast on at the beginning of 2020, and then, well, of course, we all know what happened in 2020, and I put this project aside and worked on other things. And so I decided to pick this up for my handspun month, and I'm so glad that I did, because I absolutely love how this sweater has turned out. It's a real riot of colours. I did a combo spin for this spin, and I do have a couple of videos about the spinning process, so I'll try and link them up above if I remember. But I basically pulled out a bunch of braids from my fibre stash that contained orange, of course, and then split them down, shoved them all in a basket, and then just pulled them out randomly and spun them together. And I created, I think, about 15 sort of skeins of yarn, yeah, proceeded to knit them up into a Weekender. So I'm going to do my best to hold this up so you can sort of see all of the colours that are going on, but it's a bit tricky to share the whole thing with you, given how close the camera is to me. But here we go. So that's the front. Hopefully you get a good idea. And then, of course, on the back, slightly different, particularly at the top, because I decided to reverse the pattern. The pattern is designed bottom up, but I decided to switch it round to top down, and the top bits are knit flat before you join in the round under the arms. So yeah, particularly the top of the sweater at the back is a little bit different in terms of colour variations. But then towards the bottom, as you work in the round, it gets a bit more similar. The sleeves are slightly different to one another. One of the reasons that I decided to convert this to top down was to try and match the sleeves. But what I didn't take into account was, because of the way that I stripped my fibre into really quite small little nests of fibre, the colour changes are quite rapid. Once I unwound a skein of my handspun yarn, it was very tricky to knit a bit on one sleeve and knit a bit on the other to get them to match, because the colours changed so rapidly. So this is what one sleeve looks like, and this is the other. So similar but not the same by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. It's super warm here today, but once I have finished recording, if I can bear to to wear it and do a happy dance, I will. It was a really lovely project to work on. I really like, so the main body of the sweater is reverse stocking stitch, and then the sleeves are the sort of right way stocking stitch. So you get that sort of contrast of texture between the sleeves and the body. My handspun was fairly inconsistent. The braids that I was spinning from were from completely different fibres. There was some Southdown in there was some Shetland, some BFL, some Merino, some blends with some silk in. So there were all sorts of fibres to wrangle with, and going back sort of 2 years, I'd been spinning for maybe about a year and a half when I did this combo spin. So some of the characteristics of those fibres are quite different, and I think you'd probably have to be a master spinner to try and spin them all exactly the same, which I am certainly not. So yeah, there was some bits in here that were more like fingering weight, and there were some bits in here that were definitely more like bulky weight. But overall, I think it's worked, and I think that the reverse stockinette is great for handspun because I think it shows off the texture but also disguises the texture a little bit. So yeah, I think it's just a really nice pattern to work with handspun yarn. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with how this has turned out, and I'm sure I'll get lots of wear out of it when we go into our autumn and winter, and I need a thicker weight sweater. And my first entirely made from handspun garment, so yeah, I am really happy with that achievement, and I hope to spin for more soon. That's it for the knitting, but I do have some weaving to share with you. So one of the goals that I was really anxious to try and meet through my handspun month was to try and get some weaving on the go, because it's been a while since I'd done any of that and I just hadn't made time to prioritise it. I hoped to make 2 woven projects. In the end, I have pretty much finished one and I haven't started the other. As I say, if I had kept my making mojo throughout the month, I'm sure I would have got that loom warped up again, and I'm planning to do that very soon. I'm going to definitely try and make time and prioritise a bit more weaving, because I really enjoy doing it when I get to it. But yeah, as I say, I just kind of ran out of energy and enthusiasm for a whole bunch of things at the end of the month. So I didn't get to do the second project, but I did weave a scarf with my again, another Attic Spin Die spin. I do have, when I get round to it, a vlog coming up, which is going to be a fluff to finished object vlog, sharing all of the stages of this project. This skein of fibre was gifted to me by the lovely Andy and Angela of Attic Spin Die. It was a braid of merino in their Foxy colourway, and I completely split the braid down into colour sections to try and spin a gradient. The braid wasn't dyed as a gradient, but I thought it might be a fun experiment to try and force a gradient, because there were several different definite colour shifts in that braid, and I pretty much managed it. It's obviously not a perfect gradient, but I'm really pleased with the result, and it was always my intention to weave this. So it's almost finished. The only thing that I haven't done is decided what to do with the fringe. I'm not sure whether I'm just going to leave it as is, just kind of trim it down so these fringes are all the same length, or whether I'm going to twist the fringe. I don't have a fancy fringe twister, but I know that you can do that by hand. So yeah, I'm just kind of cogitating on that, but to all intents and purposes, this project is finished. So my warp, that is this bit of the yarn that makes up the fabric, was some West Yorkshire Spinners Croft DK in the same brown that I knit my Aquamary cardigan in recently, and of course the weft was my handspun Foxy colourway from Attic Spin Die. But yeah, I'll move along the scarf so you can see how the colours transition, but I spun all of the sort of dark brown colours together, and then as we move up the scarf we move into some lighter browns and transitioning into these sort of like lovely golden sort of yellowy mustard tones, and then the final colour shift is into these sort of green brown tones right towards the end, where those are sort of like the lightest parts of the woven piece. And this, I am really happy to say, I have finally achieved my goal in making a woven piece that is perfect length for wearing as a scarf. So yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled with how this turned out. It was a pleasure to spin, a joy to weave, and I'm sure it's going to be a joy to wear too when the scarf wearing season comes around again. So yeah, so happy with that. And as I've already mentioned, there will be a vlog coming soon. I'm just waiting on myself to decide how to finish this fringing, and then I can record one final segment and then that vlog will go up on the channel. That just leaves one final making segment, which is spinning, and this month I have been completely obsessed with my support spindles. I shared a video a few days ago of me spinning with a brand new to me support spindle, and I've got another 2 oops, on the way to me, which is a little bit naughty, but hey. I know a few of you enjoyed that video, so although the other spindles coming to me are also support spindles. I may record videos sort of unboxing and spinning as well, as a few of you said that you enjoyed that. But yeah, I've finished a spin and I've got a spin in progress to share with you. So my first finished spin is this absolutely beautiful skein of yarn, which I spun from some fibre that was gifted to me by the lovely Jenny of Owl About Yarn, and this is her BFL, Blueface Leicester, and Sea Cell, which is a seaweed based fibre. I love the way this turned out. Jenny dyed this beautifully with sort of blues and purples. Completely reminded me of the bluebells in the garden as I was spinning this. And yeah, I'm really thrilled with how it turned out. I have got around to starting to record all of my details if I can. So the main skein that I've been showing off here is a traditional 3-ply. I took 3 strands of my singles and plied them together. It's 94 grams and there's about 161 meters in this main skein, and it comes in around 12 wraps per inch, so that is sort of double knit. And then I had a teeny tiny little bit left over once I'd done my 3 plies, and I just turned that into a 2-ply mini, so just wound it up into a centre pull ball and plied from that. And this is just like 3 grams and sort of 5 or 6 meters worth of yarn, but I'm sure that will go into a project, maybe even a gnome, who knows. At some point in the future. And this is just, it's so lovely and soft and drapey. I'm going to try and find a project for this soon, because I'm really interested to see how this is going to work up. You get these lovely sort of white, almost tweedy kind of effect bits throughout the yarn where the Sea Cell doesn't take the dye. And yeah, it was just, yeah, a joy to spin, and I'm, as I say, really thrilled with the finished yarn for that one. And I have a spin in progress again on my support spindles, because it seems like support spindling is my new sock knitting. So as soon as one spin comes off the spindles, another one has to go on. But you saw me start this spin when I did my unboxing video. This is my new spindle, and I'm spinning up some Rolags from Spindles and Stitches, and I have been going at this like a demon, and my spindles are full. So yeah, it's time to wind these off and ply them. I'm not sure how I'm going to ply them yet. I'm tempted to go for a 2-ply, just to see what that comes out like. Obviously I've just finished a traditional 3-ply from my support spindles, which has turned out to be around about a DK. I think because my support spindling is not altogether consistent, I think the 3-plying sort of helps even out those inconsistencies and makes for a much sort of consistent yarn overall. At least that's how I'm viewing it in my head. But I think it might be interesting to sort of put that theory to the test, and maybe make this a traditional 2-ply and see what the yarn looks like and whether it is much more inconsistent because of the 2 plies. So yeah, I feel like some sort of weird magician or a juggler with all of these spindles. But I have beautiful spindles from, I've got 3 here from the lovely Enid Ashcroft, who is a maker here in the UK, and I have a video hopefully coming soon. This is a Russian style, which was a new to me style spindle. Way back in March I recorded me spinning on this one for the first time at our local lake, and I just have not got round to finishing and editing that video, so look out for a video coming on particularly about this spindle soon. I have this spindle made from bog oak from Viscount Wood Turning, who are a Canadian based maker, and then this is my newest support spindle, which is from Alchemist Storage on Etsy, who are out of Poland, and it's a resin tipped spindle. So yeah, I'm going to wind those off in the not too distant future and start plying those up. So hopefully next month I'll be able to show you the finished yarn for that one. So yeah, I had so much fun working with Handspun in May. Not everything went to plan, and the last week or so was a bit of a bust. I'd hoped to record another vlog sort of chatting about working with Handspun in a slightly different way, but I just wasn't feeling it, so I didn't push myself. I think the urge to create things is really strong amongst most of us who watch here, but I think every now and then we have to recognise that we need to take a little break and concentrate on some other things just to re-energise ourselves, yeah, hopefully my crafting mojo will come back soon. It's prize draw time now. So at the end of the last monthly making video, I popped up a prize draw for the 1000 subscriber giveaway. We hit the 1000 subscribers here a couple of weeks ago, so I thought it'd be nice to celebrate that. And I had two prizes to give away. This beautiful skein of yarn from Unbelievable in the Sizzler colourway. This was kindly donated by the lovely Kate, so thank you so much for the donation, Kate. And then I also had a fibre prize. This was donated by Jenny of Owl About Yarn, and Jenny has also included one of her Ollivander progress keepers on there. And I asked people to comment under that video, firstly whether they'd like to be entered for the yarn or for the fibre, and then also to comment as to either something nice that they'd done for someone else or something nice that someone else had done for them, if that makes sense. So I had lots of lovely entries. A few people said that they would be interested in either the fibre or the yarn. So for those folks, to kind of make it fair, I've just popped half of them in the yarn drawer and half of them in the fibre drawer. So yeah, I've gone sort of old school, and I've put everyone's name on a bit of paper, and I've put all of the bits of paper in my basket here. So I'm going to draw for the yarn first. So I'm just going to dive in and pick a name. Hopefully that's one piece of paper, looks like it. So the winner of the yarn is the lovely Michelle. And I think, Michelle, do you comment here as Omar? I'm not sure. I kind of wrote people's names down as I know them. So yeah, Michelle, this is yours. I'll send you a message. I think I've already got your address. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. So this lovely skein of yarn will be winging its way across the pond to you soon. So congratulations. I've swapped out the yarny folks. I've got the fibrey folks in here now. So I'm going to dive in again and grab a slip of paper. Hopefully that's just one. And the winner of the fibre is Beverly Lawton. So congratulations, Beverly. I have your address too. So I shall be sending this beautiful braid of Brownie Camp, BFL and C-Cell, which is the blend that I've recently spun up. I shall be sending that your way soon. So congratulations to the winners. Thank you so much to everyone who entered, and of course the biggest thank you is to just everyone for being here, for supporting the channel. I wouldn't keep doing this without you, so yeah, I'm so grateful for your company and for your enthusiasm for the content that I post here on the channel. Finally, before I sign off, just a quick bit of a sort of life update. I mentioned at the start of the video that things are a little bit hectic around here at the moment. We are going to be needing some major repair work to our house. This has been looming for a couple of months. I may have mentioned it before, way back when we discovered this, but basically part of our roof is going to have to come off and hopefully go back on again, and I think we have scaffolding arriving today or tomorrow, and then for the next couple of weeks it's going to be chaos around here. There's going to be sort of builders in and out. As I say, the roof's half of the roof is being ripped off and then replaced, so it's going to be pretty much impossible for me to find some quiet time to record. So I have a couple of videos in progress. If I manage, that won't take too much for me to record small segments to get them finished. So if I manage to find time, energy, 5 minutes of quiet, then I might try and finish those off. But if I disappear from here for a couple of weeks, then that's the reason why I'm okay. It's just we've got loads of stuff going on. But I thought it'd be worth mentioning it because I know you're used to me popping up a couple of times a week here, or at least I have done so far in 2021. So yeah, it might be a nice opportunity for me just to use this time to sort of step back and not post anything, but we shall see. I enjoy doing it, so yeah, just as I say, depends what I have time and energy for. I think it's going to be quite a disruptive couple of weeks. I like a nice quiet life. So yeah, sort of a bunch of strangers coming in and out of the house and dismantling part of my house is going to be a little bit disconcerting, I think, but we'll get through it. It needs to be done. Before I totally sign off, I want to say a massive thank you to anyone who has supported the channel by joining Patreon or by donating a coffee. I mentioned in one of my previous videos this month that I'm trying to save up for a blending board, and a few lovely folks donated to coffee. So my fund for that blending board is getting ever closer to my target. I've also managed to sell a couple of things on Dstash, so I've put some money into my blending board pot from that too. So yeah, I'm hoping that maybe by the time I get back to recording, I'll have been able to order that and be able to share with you perhaps an unboxing of that and using it for the first time. I'm so grateful to everyone who joins me here on the channel, who watches regularly, who likes, who subscribes, who shares the videos. It helps the channel to grow and helps me to set aside the time to continue to upload content here on the channel. I'm not sure what June is going to bring in terms of making plans. I haven't, because I know I won't be recording for the next couple of weeks. I don't know what time I'm going to get for making in any way, shape or form. So I'm not setting myself any goals for June. I'm just going to take it as it comes. But hopefully by the time the end of June rolls around, I'll be able to get back to recording regularly again soon, and it'll be a surprise for me and for you to see what might emerge in the next video. Let me know in the comments below what you finished in May, what you might be working on in June, or anything that's making your heart happy right now. I always enjoy seeing those happy comments. I'm going to sign off and I'll be back again soon-ish. Until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.